Do you listen at all to newer bands as well?
I do, but I haven't listened in depth the way I
Hmm.
used to. And I'm going to blame a little bit of that just on the way I'm listening to these bands. I'll be like, okay, I'll hear about all these bands, and then I'll make a
Right.
playlist in Apple Music. That's the particular one I use. Some people use Spotify or whatever.
Right.
Make a playlist of them, put it on shuffle, and then I realized that I'm not really retaining that much. It's all like heavy, but I'm not gathering it. So I kind of decided that I'm going to just try and find, pick up a little bit from people on tour that I speak with and stuff, fans
Yeah.
after the show, and see if they have any tips for me of like what would be something cool to check out. And then try and actually focus a little bit on one of these bands' albums instead of just taking that little sampler approach,
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
because for years I'd listen to full albums, and
Yeah.
really get to know those albums, and not just in the beginning. I mean, for sure, the ones that leave the biggest impact are sort of those teenage years albums.
Of course.
They just do. Slayer, Rain and Blood. I probably could recite most of those lyrics,
Yeah.
just from having Man, I studied it like it was homework. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like I
yeah.
just sit there listening to the album, reading the lyrics with it, and there's a few albums like that for me. And as you get older, you do that a little bit less. So I have not kept up the way I would have in the past, probably lately. I have heard a lot of these bands, but I, like, for example, couldn't tell you their songs.
For
I
sure.
couldn't name songs, but I've listened to them. I'm like, oh, that band's heavy. That band's heavy, like On Death and Frozen Soul, bands like that. I've heard their stuff, but I haven't gotten to know it as well as I probably would have, 20 some years ago.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you do know that if word gets out that there is an Alex Webster playlist of death metal that he thinks is good, bands are gonna kill to get on that playlist, and then obviously we all want you to make that playlist public so that we can all enjoy the music that gets your stamp of approval. That'll be a badge of honor for many people, I'm sure.
Hey, well, if any of those outlets want me to do something like that, I'm happy to put something together to be a homework assignment I would enjoy very much.